Okay, hi everybody. I will start with our compliance statement. Notice of the time, date, location, and agenda of this meeting, to the extent known, was provided at least 48 hours prior to the commencement of this meeting in the following manner, pursuant to the provisions of NJSA 10(4)-6, etc., the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting and all meetings in 2024 was provided to the township clerk, posted in town hall and the township's website, and provided to newspapers on December 19th, 2023. I think we're going to do the salute to the flag first.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is going to be followed, sadly, by a moment of silence for two longtime members of our community: Christopher Palumbo Sr., owner of New Palumbo's Auto, who passed away on March 29th, and David Stone, owner of Nancy and David Fine Jewels, on April 12th.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. The purpose of the Special Improvement District is to promote, grow, and support local businesses, property owners, residents, and visitors. Millburn Township SID ordinance designates a new district management corporation whose mission is to encourage the economic, cultural, and social vitality of Millburn Township through increased marketing and visibility, improved and renewed infrastructure, and local business development and engagement. May we have the approval of the minutes? Tracy, you want to?
Yes, so the minutes were attached for March 14th, 2024. Did anyone have any questions on those?
May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the March 14th, 2024 meeting?
Motion.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I have one abstention.
Yeah, I'm upset. And Ashley as well.
And one. Good evening, Ashley.
Good evening.
Okay. Tracy, you want to proceed?
An update about financial disclosure forms. Ryan, I think you're going to give that an update.
Sure, an update on that. So actually the executive director called to myself and the clerk's attention that there was a rule change in the regulations for the Department of Community Affairs back in 2018 that exempts directors and members of special improvement district boards from the financial disclosure forms that are annually submitted to the DCA by other government officials. This was done in recognition that SIDs are a private public partnership, and so SID boards are not government officials in that respect. So an update that I think many probably have already completed their disclosure forms. I'll continue to work with the executive director and in the township's clerk's office on how you'll be implementing that going forward. But wanted to give you that update.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
So just to clarify, Ryan, if someone has not submitted already, they do not need to do so.
That's right. Well, I mean, I'm going to work with the clerk's office for the township of Millburn, the administrator's office, as to how the township's going to implement that fully. But there is no legal requirement for any board member to submit one. So, it remains to be seen how that'll be, what will take place for this year, as some already have. But if some of the members, if they have not, and if they end up not submitting one, that's entirely in compliance with the law because there's no obligation to.
Excellent. Okay, moving on to the treasurer's report. Mr. Weiner.
Yes, thank you.
Attachment 2, I bring your attention to attachment 2, and I'd like to call out just a few things. Bank balance as of March 31 was $26,617.89. The balance jumped up significantly. I wanted to make a correction in the attachments. The balance on April 8th, so about 1 week later, jumped up to $171,541.54. All because of tax revenue received from the town. So we received about $153,817 from the town and deposited that in during the course of that week. And then also, for example, today we got a $5,000 sponsorship check in. So we've got a very nice balance as of, we checked it a few minutes ago, $175,313 in the bank. So
And I apologize, there's a typographical error
Yes.
on the budget there. I think a formula didn't carry over, but everything that Stephen just recited, we confirmed a few minutes ago.
Yep, thank you. And then the next item is just the 2023 audit status. He did come in, it was April 3rd. He went through for about 4 hours. Steve, I think you said everything looks good. We should have his audit letter for the next board meeting.
And then I'll handle the grant report, which is a monthly report. As you know, we still have the Main Street, New Jersey application under review with the DCA. There are 5 applications that we're going to be pursuing over the next few months. One is with the TD Bank Foundation for money to help support the Town Hall Plaza entertainment. We'll also be applying to T-Mobile Hometown Grant Program for $25,000 for various streetscaping projects. We've applied in the past 2 years. We haven't been accepted. They typically focus on low-income communities, but the application is essentially a template, so it doesn't hurt us to throw our hat in the ring this year. We'll also be applying to the New Jersey Division of Tourism for 2026 services. So as I mentioned, I think at a previous meeting, both the World Cup and the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution are both in 2026. And New Jersey plays a critical role both in the history of the Revolution, as well as the World Cup final is going to be played at MetLife Stadium nearby. And so I attended a conference at the end of last year sponsored by a variety of agencies, and they were talking about how small communities in New Jersey could capitalize on these two major efforts. So we've already begun working with the state and their they call it Revolution NJ program, and actually Committeeman Stoller and his colleagues passed a resolution about 2.5 weeks ago to support that effort, and we think it's a great opportunity for us to bring some excitement to this community in 2026. We'll also be applying to the Schumann Fund and then eventually to New Jersey DCA. Once we get a determination on the Main Street program, there's a secondary program that we can apply for, which includes technical assistance straight away. So all of those things are on the horizon in terms of the grants and support. And I do want to mention, Amanda did get a $5,000 sponsorship today for our Upper Millburn Avenue block party, which will be in August. So thank you to the Metropolitan Garden Homes. They provided that to be the primary sponsor.
Well done, Amanda. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, terrific. Okay, Mr. Stoller, Township Committee report.
Sure. Holiday Decor Committee, working with Alex McDonald to put that together. He will be passing out a few handout sheets as well in the coming weeks. We want to make sure that we have continuity throughout the township for the holiday decor, and that we have a group of the holiday committee start meeting early to ensure success.
Great.
Town Hall Plaza closure ordinance and consumption area, we passed that by consensus. That is actually Town Hall Plaza Way right next to our Town Hall. We're going to close that down for the summer, for pretty much the duration of summer. Change a little traffic pattern in terms of coming into that lot. So it's going to have all the canopies. I'll let Steve go into more about lighting, tables, chairs, games, the famous art chalk art, and really have some nice programming. I'll let Steve go into the dynamics or the specifics of the programming, and use that as the outdoor space. And as of now, during the week, Main Street will be open. it was a tough fight right there through that whole deal, so. And then the last but not least is the paper mill final reading was done. We are investing with the paper mill as partners, collaborators. We are going to get $50,000 a year of their parking revenue. We still get full lease payments as we've gotten. We've got the 20 Brookside property, which is worth about $1.8 million. And then we get actually $36 million of investment capital improvements on the day the renovation is complete. As you know, we own all 9 acres. We own the building, we own the carriage house, and now we own the contiguous land. And we will get $36 million free and clear onto our balance sheet on that after renovation. In addition to that, the single most important economic driver of Millburn Township is the paper mill playhouse. So they're continuing to promise us good programming. I went and saw Gun and Powder this weekend. I promise you, if there's one show you see, it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Did you see it, Steve?
This weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's going to Broadway. That's my prediction. It's fantastic. And that pretty much wraps it up.
Great work on paper mill. That was a heavy lift. Good job.
Okay, Steve, do you want to mention anything about the street closure, or you want to get to that a little bit later?
Just a brief note. Yeah, we can talk about that later. I have some handouts
Yeah.
for everyone, but in terms of the consumption license or
Yeah.
the consumption area, I should say. That will require a separate ordinance passed by the township committee, which will designate Town Hall Plaza as an area where the public is allowed to consume alcohol. That's something that Governor Murphy signed into law, I believe in late 22, early 23. But municipalities have the authority to do that. And so I know I'm working with Alex. We actually have a meeting on Tuesday to go over logistics, as well as the municipal clerk. And we will get an ordinance in front of the township committee to review. I've spoken to the majority of the members and they all seem to be very supportive of that. So I think that'll also help a lot of the local beer and wine stores and some of the restaurants that you can purchase alcohol and then bring it with you. And so we'll prepare an ordinance for the TC's review, and that doesn't have to be taken care of until certain, probably mid-May, early June.
And is there any restriction on that consumption license hours, or how does it work? Is it sort of for the duration as long as the space is closed? How does it?
Yeah, it actually doesn't have to do anything with the closure. The law doesn't stipulate that it has to be a closed street. It could be a park, it could be a street, it's not that specific. However, in our specific example, right, we do have a pedestrian closure, but it would be up to the members of the township committee to designate when alcohol can be consumed. And so I would imagine it would be for the same time period from July 1 to Labor Day, when Town Hall Plaza is closed, but it is also up to their discretion if they want to put certain days and hours on it as well.
That's a discretion of the township committee.
Completely to their discretion, yes.
Great. And is this license an annual license? How does it work?
No, it's not a license at all.
It's the permission process, this
No,
ordinance?
it would terminate at the end of the period where you would allow the consumption.
So people could buy alcohol from any of the vendors in town
Correct.
and consume it in that space.
Correct.
And okay, great.
I'm sure they could QR code it as well, right?
Yeah, the QR code, we'll talk about it later, but we're gonna work with the wine shops. So if they're doing a tasting night, if you like a particular bottle of wine, you could then call up and somebody could bring it down for you, and then you could open up that bottle and drink it right there. So it adds a lot of freedom to that area. So I think it'd be a great addition.
And is there enough, where's all the seating and lighting?
Well, he'll do.
Oh, you're gonna get to that. I'm sorry.
Stay tuned.
I think we'll put it in the street, Richard. That's real quick.
I'm thinking there's an opportunity for some explore swag for cups.
I like that.
I'm just.
She's been full of ideas this week.
Oh, wine coolers.
Yeah.
Swag that.
Yeah.
Explore wine coolers. Think about that one.
So, all right, well, more to
Yeah, at the
follow.
conclusion of the meeting, we'll talk about that.
Okay. Mr. Hoffman, Downtown Circulation Improvement Plan Meeting Recap.
Good evening, everybody. So I don't have too much to report for this evening, but on March 27th, we did have an information session for the Downtown Circulation Improvement Plan. We had great attendance and good participation that evening. Members of the committee, as well as Colliers Engineering, gave a presentation and overview of where we were with the plan. And at this point, we're just taking the feedback that we received and trying to figure out what the next steps will be. So there's not exactly any follow-up that I've got to offer for you this evening, but we're just assessing what the next steps will look like.
Great. And just generally, how was the feedback? Like positive or like some specific?
There were a
concerns?
lot of concerns raised just as far as how traffic flow will impact certain areas of town. What will be the impacts? Did the engineers try to map out exactly what could happen as far as what streets might be used as cut throughs if things change? So there was kind of mixed overall.
I was there as well, and change is always challenging. I think part of it was getting people comfortable with how it's going to flow naturally. And then the big pushback was on the entry into South Mountain. What's that road called? Whitting. Parkview. And if that needed to be a four-way or not. So, and whatever we can do to not make it a thoroughfare, we should do.
Thank you. Mr. Cooper.
Just one item this evening. As mentioned, the Main Street application is pending, and just to update you, there were 2 submissions from the plaintiff in the Bear Properties litigation, and their counsel submitted letters, which Explore responded to succinctly, and so that remains pending.
Okay. All right, marketing and events.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, good evening, everyone. Lots to cover, I'm gonna be as fast as I can. We had a joint advisory committee meeting with the launch party for the Millburn-Short Hills magazine that started in January.
Is that your Vanna?
Thank you, Vanna. And it was at the Carriage House at the paper mill, was that Tuesday night? It was absolutely lovely. We had advisory committee members, residents, other business owners, and we got to meet the whole team from the magazine. Beautiful night. I think it overall was just really successful, really nice vibe going on, and the relationship that Steve started with the magazine, I think is going to be a great one for us. So yeah, great evening. And Restaurant Week, I'm going to do a full report at the May meeting, but overall it was a very successful event. We made a lot of improvements from last year, and I just wanted to read a handful of comments from some of the restaurants. I still have surveys coming back from them, so that's why I wanted to wait on that. Karamia said, thanks to Restaurant Week, we had new people dine with us, and the influencers also helped us reach people that may have never heard of our place, so that was cool to see. I know even with my own posts, I get new guests, so when dealing with people who have that many followers, it's a positive impact. Millburn Standard, we saw an increased number of customers and revenue during Restaurant Week. This was good communication between customers and staff. Always staff mentioned the Restaurant Week menu, and many customers brought it up independently. Lustrada, Restaurant Week was awesome for us this year. Anthony, he's a social media influencer, was very helpful and made 2 videos, one each one hit over 15,000 views. We're looking forward to working with him again on our specials and dine-in effort this summer. Thanks to everyone who made this happen. Jack's Surf and Turf, we significantly benefit from Explore Millburn's work in this town. Thanks to their personalized communications and expertise in events and marketing management, I'm confident that our Upper Millburn Avenue will thrive even more in the coming months. Explore has played a significant role in this optimism because of the programs we have participated in and benefited from. Steve and Amanda's passion and genuine desire to help shines through at every event. Thai House, despite the fact that we only provide takeout during Restaurant Week, It has significantly attracted new customers and repeat customers for us. We hope to host Restaurant Week every year and that it will continue to improve and succeed. So just some of that to share. Moving on, we are working with Coding for Good, which is a high school group with significant coding computer skills, and they are gonna help improve the public art trail that we've developed on our website. So make it easier and nicer to navigate, just much more dynamic. So they have a team ready and we're working with them, and that should happen over the next couple months. So we'll report back on that. The Metropolitan, so I have.
I got nervous.
You're gonna be my assistant? Okay, so.
You worked hard on it.
Okay. So the Metropolitan, let me show you. This is the welcome bag that they give their new residents. So inside there is this bag from us. And inside that bag, we put together an envelope of welcome to the neighborhood. Where it is. And inside that is, and I've been talking to you about it, these are all promo cards for businesses throughout all the districts. So it's been really great. We dropped off the first batch of them. So they've been given out and they'll be continued to give out through, I think, May, and then we'll be giving them another batch. Also inside here, we made a directory of all the businesses. And included their names, addresses, phone numbers, and then we have a QR code so they can go straight to the directory on our website. And this is, it's by the same, you know, medical, shopping, that kind of thing, navigation that the website is. And then a handful of businesses gave products. So I think I've showed you these, but this is chapstick from Smiles on Essex, a house keychain from Bruce Hill Agency, pen from Paper Mill, a glasses cleaner from Millburn Camera Shop, and then a reusable bag from Home Instead. So really, really happy with this. The relationship with the Metropolitan has just been awesome from the get-go. And we already mentioned they are sponsoring an event for us. They were also in attendance at the advisory committee meeting at the Carriage House on Tuesday. And then the things that I'll be working with them in the next couple of months, they're gonna also allow us to feature like special services businesses wanna offer to the residents. So we'll have kind of a sheet for that. They're gonna have a opening pool party for their pool, and they want our restaurants to come and kind of have a food fair there. So we'll be bringing that to everybody's attention soon. And then later on, probably in the fall, we're gonna do more of a vendor fair, probably in their lobby, to allow other businesses to promote to them as well. So very busy, but very good. Okay, upcoming events. Baki Barn is turning 14. So that's gonna be on April 28th. We've posted that on our Instagram, social media. We'll be posting more of that. So congratulations to them. Millburn Schools Wellness Week. I will have a full report on that as well at the May meeting, but in brief, we are coordinating all the programming for assemblies for the elementary school kids, so the K through 5. And that programming is being provided from our businesses. So it's related to self-care and fitness and other activities. And then we are also doing the programming with the middle school. That's like skincare and other wellness. And they're gonna be fairs, health fairs during the study halls. So just finishing filling those slots and been working.
When's that gonna happen?
So that's the week of May 6th to the 10th.
Okay, that's on here.
And then there's also gonna be some art activities in the faculty lounges. Just a quick note, we have some new businesses and one that hasn't even opened yet that are participating. Curious Kids is participating. Helios PT, which they are at Evolve Studio. Gold Medal Gymnastics is participating. And then existing businesses, Artivino, Sweet Tooth Pediatrics, One River, Teen Skin, Pure Bar, F45, SwimQuest, SLT My Skin, and I have more coming in. So another interesting and really great partnership with the school system that's happening. Founding Day, I'll just talk briefly about the wheels and hand it over to Jackie. So the 12 wheels that we have with the 12 organizations, they picked them up and they're currently decorating them. And then we will be displaying them at Founding Day. So that's all moving along really well. The designs are looking phenomenal. We'll be posting about that too. And then a couple, yeah, absolutely. Jackie, go.
Yeah, so Police Plans has been May 18th with a rain date of May 19th in Taylor Park. The day will begin with an environmental commission cleanup. The Mill Wheel Public Art will be there from 12 to 3. We'll have live period music by Florian Chance. The Millburn-Short Hills Historical Society will be featuring Mrs. Taylor. The Condits that are one of the sort of founding families of Millburn. There'll be walking tours. There'll be period games, some chalk art. The Environmental Commission will be hosting a variety of activities. Also happy to say that there will be a sketch artist visiting with us. Her name is Jessica Rios. And each attendee at the day's festivities will receive a ticket for a raffle. And at the end of the afternoon, this work of art will be raffled off. We've got Neighborhood House doing some awesome games, which is also has been around, I believe, I think that was Mrs. Taylor's.
I think they're at 104 years.
Okay.
That was
104.
Mrs. Taylor's.
Pet project, yeah, so that, yeah, it was one of her native plants. Millburn Climate Action will be doing. Will also be what we did last year, last year, Stuff the Bus. So we encourage all our residents to bring non-perishable food items, no glass, please, nothing expired, so that we can distribute that to our own residents that have experienced food insecurity. The Desi Club will be doing a dance performance. We have Paper Mill sending one of their is this a student, a Paper Mill student will be doing a live performance. All of this will be happening at the Bauer, in and around the Bauer Center. These beautiful wheels will be on display, and then they post Founding Day, Taylor Park celebration, they will be distributed and mounted throughout the town and become part of a permanent, if you will, art collection for the township. So that's very exciting. For those of you that were around 5 years ago, we did a Mill Wheels rolling into Millburn. Steve and Amanda saw that they had not been protected from the elements as well as they will be now, because we're using different methodologies and different finishes so that they will be able to withstand the elements. So we're kind of upcycling these mill wheels. They're quite large and they're functional, so it'll be, and each organization of our nonprofits is really taking it very seriously and very whimsically, if I may say, to engage their individual members. So I think it's going to be a very exciting day. There'll be something for everyone. We're also partnering with our restaurants and making them aware of this so that they will be able to really engage people before, after lunch, snacks. We'll provide some refreshments for some of our helpers. And if you are interested in volunteering that day, mshceda, mshceda@gmail.com. So that's that.
Just a couple other additions.
Yeah.
So as Jackie was talking about the sketch artist, we're actually gonna be using a QR code for people to scan. And so then someone will win that door prize. The mill wheels are being paid for in part by our grant from Essex County. So that's the second year we've received a grant from them, right?
Correct.
So it's really been beneficial for us. Explore, we're gonna put together a family-oriented business flyer, so people that are in the downtown for the day, promoting those businesses. And then we had put together a postcard about Explore. I guess in the fall, we had started to do that. So we'll be handing those out as well, to let people know who we are and what we do.
So Amanda, so are we having a table there, like an Explore specific?
Yeah.
Table?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let us know if you're looking for volunteers.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can email.
Amazing, Christina.
Yes.
Okay,
Or you can get.
I'm actually gonna be at graduation.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
this is-
Amanda, can I ask a question?
yeah.
Those handouts that we printed, did we order like extras?
Which
You know, the business
The
handout.
directories?
the directories?
I actually made the first
This?
batch
Yeah,
here.
We can print them in-house.
that would be great to have
Yeah.
extras on hand. You know, especially, I don't know, even in town hall, because when people call the office and how do I open up a business, who do I talk to? That would be a great thing to send to,
Well, that's part of their new business welcome kit that's
Yeah.
in there.
that would
So-
be, yeah. it'd be
We
good
have
to
a very
extras.
robust welcome package.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so,
Great. Oh, good stuff.
In those packets, in that bag, I would throw out some of the paper mill brochures too, or a paper mill brochure.
Yeah, I can
Sometimes
ask.
Yeah, they should give you some old programs or something.
Okay. Just a quick mention, Curious Kids, they're having a parents mixer on May 22nd, and we're helping them with community outreach. They have been very aggressive in getting involved in the community, and I think they're gonna be very successful here.
do you want to just tell everybody where they are again, in case they don't
So
know?
they're right,
158 Spring
the
Street.
Spring Street, it's this little building, it's adorable. If you look through the windows, you see the children's tables and very colorful painting and everything.
And they just did the latest public art mural. This
Yeah.
week, they did a mural on the building, it's beautiful.
Yeah, so they're right back there, and they had actually, was it closed their other location to open here?
Yes, Jersey City.
There's gonna be a super mixer at the Hilton on May 23rd, and that's going to include Explore businesses, chamber businesses, and other chambers besides the Millburn-Short Hills one, so that's gonna be a nice networking event. And then Girls' Night Out is going really well. We're currently recruiting businesses to participate. Some highlights, we're gonna have DJs, psychics, live mermaids, and we're working on the other details, but it's gonna be a lot of fun. And that's on June 6th. I think that's it for me.
Did I see an email that came out, like save the dates
Yeah.
for all, that was today, right? Yeah, it was great.
So the criteria to attend the mixer, you have to be a chamber member or a member of, how does that work?
Yeah, this was the event that we had talked about in our last meeting. It was supposed to be a 2-hour business education symposium and then a mixer. There was some scheduling challenges, so we decided to forego the symposium. But as long as you are a member of the Millburn-Short Hills Chamber, a business within the Special Improvement District, of which there are 503, or a member of some of the other chambers that are gonna be participating, so like the Cranford Chamber, the Chatham Chamber, we're working to coordinate those, hopefully so that we can help our businesses spread their reputations to other surrounding communities. So anybody that is within the Special Improvement District, property owner or business owner, can attend.
Where is it again?
It's gonna be at the Short Hills Hilton. It's gonna be an outdoor reception on the veranda that they have. It's quite a lovely location. So that's, and I would love, obviously, for all of our board members and advisory committee members to attend. And once again, that's May 23rd, 5:30 to 7:30.
Start your Memorial Day weekend at the Hilton. Okay,
All right, I guess I'm up. Ryan, do you want to introduce your colleague? I don't think you had a chance.
Sure, so we want to let Thomas Slattery is joining me this afternoon. Tom is an associate in my office, just started last week. He's been doing a fantastic job. He keeps showing up, so that's that's right. After the first week, he came back, so I have no complaints.
Welcome.
So Tom's been doing a great job. He'll I think be of great assistance to us in our work on behalf of the CID. And so looking forward to all of you getting to know him a little bit better and hopefully you know, continuing to produce good work product for Explore Millburn-Short.
Welcome. So the first item is the Memorial Day Parade. We have been invited by Mr. McDonald, our BA, to attend on behalf of Explore. That is Monday, May 27th, which is Memorial Day at 11 a.m. in downtown. Certainly, we'd like to have a nice attendance. So if everybody from the board is available, we'd love to have you there. Just let me know, hopefully by the end of this weekend, possibly, if you'll be available, because we have to submit some forms. And if we only have 1 or 2 people, then maybe we will not attend. So let me look at your schedules and let me know. Obviously, folks are out of town for the long weekend, but if you do plan to attend, please let me know.
11 a.m.
11 a.m. on Monday, May 27th. And it starts up at the high school and then concludes down in Taylor Park. And last year was a really lovely event.
Yeah.
On the business advocacy side, so another standing report for this year, the new businesses, closed businesses. We have 2 businesses that have opened since our last meeting. Amanda mentioned Helios Physical Therapy and Performance, which is sharing a space with Evolve Fitness at 116 Essex Street, so right across from the municipal parking deck. And then First Choice Prep is taking a 2nd floor office space at 387 Millburn, which is where the Ethical Mattress is, but on the 2nd floor used to be Jim Wiles' architecture office. After his retirement, it was vacant. So now this First Choice Prep is moving in, and I believe
What is that?
it's a test prep.
Okay.
And I think they have a space they have an operation in Livingston, and one other, which I can't remember. This is their 3rd location. So they'll be up on the 2nd floor behind the Ethical Mattress storefront. And then sad news, Pedon Essex closed yesterday. So the owner was evidently, as we all are, contemplating retirement. And I asked him what his next step was. He says, I don't know, maybe another restaurant, maybe go on vacation for the rest of my life. But Pedon Essex's space will not be vacant. Live Breads is going to be expanding their operation to that storefront as well. So the space will be empty for a short period during that transition, but we are not concerned about a vacancy because our wonderful friends at Live Bread will be moving over there.
And are they gonna be used as a restaurant space or as a baking space? Or we don't. Or
I think
a
it's supposed
classroom?
to be a retail component like what they have now, but TBD. Don't
Okay.
take my word for it.
But you say moving, they're gonna keep the other place too.
Correct.
Yeah, they're expanding.
They're expanding.
Expanding.
Yeah.
A little trivia is Live Bread Pedon Essex was here first, and the Live Bread folks are friends of theirs. They encourage them to come to Millburn, and
I heard the owner's moving back to Israel.
Perhaps. Well, it's my falafel spot, so I'm upset.
I spoke to him today earlier as well. He's enjoying the holidays. I think they are gonna go back to Israel, but they're figuring it out.
But we're certainly glad, you know, that Live continues to expand as well. So, all good news there. We do have an education program update. Our next and final class for the first half of the year is gonna be on April 26th. It's a lunch and learn. It'll be in this room, and then it'll also be broadcast live on Zoom. That's with Ross Stafford. He's a local Short Hills resident. He owns a marketing firm, and he's gonna be presenting on digital marketing and social media. And that is in coordination with Chamber of Commerce, which we've done 4 sessions with them as part of our partnership this year. And so that'll be the last one for the first half of the year. Certainly, if you're interested in attending, just let me know. But we will be circulating the Zoom link, or you can come in person, and we'll have some food for that lunch and learn. And I think as of yesterday, we had 25 businesses signed up to attend.
Terrific.
All right, infrastructure and services. So in your packets, there's attachment 4 and attachment 5, which if you wouldn't mind looking at those. So at the March meeting, the board authorized me to circulate an RFP for street cleaning and general maintenance services, and that's paid through the township's Clean Communities grant that we have through the state. So Alex McDonald has provided us with $20,000 towards the street cleaning program. So I sent the RFP to 6 local and regional maintenance firms, and we received 1 response, which is attachment 4 in your packets. That's from Clark Service Professionals. They're actually a Sid-based business. They're at 830 Morris Turnpike. We've hired them in the past to do some power washing and some window washing. They've done some prep work for our public art. So we have worked with them and have familiarity with them. Their proposal, which is based on the recommendation that I made in the RFP, is they'll be cleaning downtown twice a week on Wednesdays and Sunday mornings, Upper Millburn once a week on Wednesdays, Short Hill Station once every 2 weeks on Sundays, and Wyoming and Morris Turnpike once a month on Sundays. That frequency was developed based on foot traffic as well as private properties. So Wyoming and Morris Turnpike, they're all, those properties are set back and there's parking lots. Those are all, they have private maintenance. So we don't really need to spend quite as much effort as we do in the downtown or Upper Millburn. They're also going to be providing cleaning of the 3 public spaces that Explore manages. So the Art Alley, the Oasis, which is behind Evu and Lemon, and then Town Hall Plaza. Now that we're going to have that activated, they'll be cleaning that every Sunday morning after the Friday and Saturday activities. And just to spare you going through the response, the cleaning will include removing and disposing of any sidewalk litter, cleaning out the planters and tree pits of debris, emptying all trash receptacles if they're near capacity, especially on Sundays. That was a major problem for us last year. A lot of weekend foot traffic, garbage cans become overloaded. They'll be responsible for removing that. They'll also be doing weed whacking around town. So there's a couple places where we have displaced brick, grass has grown out, or so they'll go and weed whack that. And then they'll also be responsible for reporting any damaged sidewalks, brick, et cetera, so that we can deal with that. There are proposals for 12 weeks from May 12th to August 3rd. And then they're going to provide 3 additional cleanings of Town Hall Plaza on Sunday mornings in August because the music program still runs through August. So I'm going to ask you to look at that and authorize me to proceed. As well as I do want to mention they provided a second proposal, which is attachment 5 in your packets. That is to do a hardscaping project along Morris Turnpike. We had talked about that a number of times. The hope was to remove the weeds, the dirt, broken asphalt, et cetera, that's between the verge, which is between the curb and the sidewalk. So it's usually only about 12 to 18 inches wide or so. But most of it is in pretty bad condition over there. And it's just not a nice aesthetic. They gave us a proposal for $5,000 for a 4-day project to remove all the debris. There's no excavation or any type of heavy construction, which brought the cost down. And then they'll put in stone to just make it look a bit nicer. We do have a couple of areas where we already put stone down. This will complete that project, and then we'll see how it holds up over time. But I think the $5,000 number is terrific, and part of that is they're already going to have crews out here working, so they can kind of throw it all together to do the project. So I'm happy to answer any questions on those 2 proposals.
Does
But
that include the price of the stone, the 5,000?
yes, it does.
It does.
And it's gonna match the existing stone?
Yes.
You said they were.
Is there any room to do any planting on Morris?
No, we've tried that in our first year in 21. There's 2 problems. One, it's very, very windy. There's a wind corridor as you come down, but secondly, DPW has a really tough time watering the plants because they do it through a watering truck. And so you have to park the truck and then deal with this whole safety issues.
Logistics.
It's just not easy. And so we abandoned that. I think stone is the way to go. It's just gonna hold up better. The other thing too is during the winter time, you get the plows that go down because it's a state highway, and they really beat the road up pretty bad. So I think the stone is the safest way to go in terms of getting the best value for dollar.
And that area can use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Can you include in that, remember that nasty ribbon that's at Glenwood and
Mhm.
Glenwood and
Glenwood Drive.
Millburn Ave?
Mhm.
Can we get that taken?
Yeah, that was a
off?
public art project we did in 21. It's
It's-
faded,
it's
so it's time to
ready
go
to
down.
come down.
It's not aged well. It was great when it happened.
Yeah.
but.
We can have that removed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Excuse me, Ryan, do we need to take a vote on authorizing Steve to proceed with this, executing this contract?
Yes, so I would recommend that, that's what you meant by proceeding, right?
Right.
Steve, you wanna move ahead with the contract?
Okay.
Yeah,
Can I
so
ask one more question, just about the Mars Turnpike? In terms of the stone over time, like if they start, like what kind of maintenance is required to just keep the stone in the designated areas?
It should be
Like
pretty
this.
minimal, and I have a case study, right, because we've done it already. The stone that we've put in has held up very well over the last 2.5 years. So
Is that something like could DPW like once a month go check in and just? or is
I
there-
check it,
You'll,
just like
What's the length of the length of it,
the length of
the
what Morris Turnpike.
enhancement, yeah?
I can't give you an exact answer because there's
Well, sure,
parts,
sure.
well, there's parts that don't require this. So there are some parts that actually have pretty decent grass. They've been maintained over the years. There's some places where it's just concrete, but the concrete's in good shape. So it's really literally going from curb cut to curb cut to curb cut to figure out which
That's
spots
from
need it.
Walgreens always up.
Oh, I'm
to-
sorry, the district itself,
To Benihana?
Walgreens to Benihana.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant the project
No,
itself.
no,
Yeah.
The district.
Benihana to the Walgreens, yeah.
Every property from Walgreens to Benihana is in.
While we're speaking about the properties in that district, where are we with the swim school that's going into the old YB Fitness?
Yep, so it's actually two businesses going in.
Yep.
It's Aquatots Swim School
Right,
and Gold Medal Gymnastics. We've engaged both of them so far.
okay,
There's construction crews working on the buildings now. So I think fingers crossed, it's a late summer kind of thing. So we'll have more information as construction goes, but that's gonna be. Don't take this as gospel, because I've never actually been inside the building. It's been vacant since I've been here, but it's 2 stories.
Yeah.
And so I think the swim school's on the first floor and the gymnastics school is gonna be on the second, how it works out, but they're sharing a building, or it's a basement and a first floor.
Well, it's a, yeah, but
Half and
I
half.
don't think they're sharing a building. I think the pool's going in, going to YB Fitness.
yeah,
They're sharing a physical building,
Right, but.
But they're
it's not-
splitting it.
It's not on top of each other, though, it's
side by
side
side,
by side.
side by side, yeah, so it's not vertical.
I think there is a basement space.
No, there's
Yeah.
that's where they're putting the pool,
Yes,
yeah.
I think they put the pool in the basement and the gymnasium on the first floor.
Okay.
But either way, there's construction crews out there, they're working on the facade of the building, so I think it's gonna be a great use over there.
And Steve, the only other thought I have with this is that we should tell our neighbors, the great work that we're doing in their neighborhood, like the businesses on up in Millburn. I mean, they're gonna see the proof, they're gonna see the work happening.
Yes, we're gonna work with the ambassadors, who are the folks cleaning the streets. We're gonna give them a briefing on what to say if someone says, what are you doing out here? Who's paying for this? And I met with the
Taxes aren't going up.
taxes, no, we've collected your money, we're spending it well. In fact, this one's from the state paid for this, not the city. But yeah, definitely, and then also the same thing on Morris Turnpike, we're gonna get a lot of social media content out there about cleaning up that area.
It'd be nice you're gonna work with Alex to make sure that we have a traffic officer on the site, because that's what we need, is somebody getting run over.
100%, yeah. And we had to do the same thing back in 21 when we did the hardscaping.
Quick question on the dates of the 12-week duration, May 12, and won't that end before our?
yes,
Yes. I'm just trying to figure that out.
Yeah,
Is
so
there something
maybe I ran through it too quickly. So it's gonna be May 12th to August 3rd. And then they're gonna give us 3 additional weekends of cleaning Town Hall Plaza specifically.
All right, good.
So it's a tight budget, 20 grand, but I think they gave us what they could give us for this
Gotcha.
project.
Okay.
But we're getting all 5 districts cleaned on a regular
No,
basis.
it's great, yeah, thank you.
Will this renew again, the funding? Or
I have to ask Mr. McDonald that. We do get annual money. Tim's not here. I think we get about $45,000 a year through the Clean Communities Program. The town does. A portion of that is used for various DPW work. And then this is the first year that I've been able to convince Alex that we should get that money and implement it for the SID. So hopefully, if this is a successful project, we'll be able to do it again next year.
Wonderful.
I do notice a credit card fee in here, which would put us over, so we'll write him a check.
We'll write him a check.
Perfect, perfect.
Steve, also, I think it's imperative to make sure that the streets are clean, especially in the Town Hall Plaza, that we don't have anybody any excuses to say, hey, there's trash left over, looks like a circus we're gonna do their day before.
Absolutely, yeah, they'll be out Sunday mornings cleaning everything up and removing all the debris from the garbage
We'll
cans.
have extra trash cans too, because I think we had to do that last year.
Yeah, we added a bunch. And we also added the pizza box receptacles last year, because pizza boxes
They
don't
don't
fit in
fit.
the circular garbage cans. So Public Works built 2 of them. So they're actually sitting on Main Street now. We're gonna move them over to Town Hall Plaza. We think about garbage a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Sid thing. We think about garbage. And wind. So yes, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes.
I would appreciate authorization to proceed with both contracts.
Quickly, I'm
yeah.
sorry, one more quick. Does that mean signing the proposals, or is there another contract that will have?
They'll
other
have to prepare a
terms?
contract
Okay,
that reflects what's proposed.
got it. Okay,
And
thank you.
just before we go to the vote or such, I assume these went through best practices,
Correct.
number of different submissions, so.
Yeah, so we don't have so SIDS do not have, unless they institute themselves, a formal bidding process. It's not like municipal government. I did circulate this to 6 different firms. I did hear from them, some just thought it was too low of a number. So this was the firm that submitted, and as I said, we worked with them on other projects. So I'm confident they can execute the work.
Okay, good, so we know something about them, some due diligence.
Yeah, I think they've done probably 3 projects for us so far.
And also noteworthy is they are in the SID.
They are in the SID.
They are
They're
in the
830
SID,
Morris.
so we're supporting a business that's in our business district, so kudos for that. Okay, I'd like to ask for authorization to proceed with the Clean Communities grant gifted by the township to explore, to proceed with Clark Services proposal to clean the designated areas from May 12th through August 3rd with the schedule that is attached in your packet. May I have a motion?
Motion.
May I have a second? Second. Okay. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Alexa Clark,
Yes.
Tracy Katz Levine, yes, Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg,
Yes.
Ben Stoller,
Affirmative.
Ashley Schultz,
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Yes.
Okay.
You need to do the second one.
Second motion for the hardscape.
Second one, the hardscape
Ah.
project.
They're separate contracts, 2 separate funding sources.
Got it. So may I have a motion to proceed with the second contract with Clark Service Professionals to proceed with the hardscaping project on Morris Turnpike area from Walgreens to Benihana. Thank you.
Motion.
Second. So the motion was Stephen Weiner was the motion. Alexa Clark was the second. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Alexa Clark,
Yes.
Tracy Katz Levine, yes, Jackie Benjamin Lieberberg,
Yes.
Ben Stoller,
Affirmative.
Ashley Schultz,
Yes.
Stephen Weiner.
Affirmative.
That's catchy.
All right, so the
Okay.
next item, state of the SID. So this is the report that I issue every 6 months. This is our 6th report. So it details commercial vacancy rates. We also do a business census. And then we talk about associated economic development strategies. So right now, we have a very healthy occupancy rate, which you'll see later as we dive into it. But Tim, if you would advance the slides, go back 1. Terrific. So for those of you not familiar, that is the map of the 5 districts of our SID. Also, just for you guys, we will be presenting right after this a complimentary report for 2024, which is our key performance indicators report. So we have adopted 2 specific approaches to our work, which you guys are so central to. The first is that Main Street approach that we've talked about, which is economic vitality, design, promotion, and organization. And then that includes incorporating public art, the streetscaping we just talked about, transportation, parking, technology modernization, education into that model. And so we worked very hard to create what we think is a very healthy, robust local economy. And I think the numbers will reflect that here. So the SID consists of 5 districts, as you see there. There's 160 assessed tax lots. So there are more than, there's about 200 lots. Some of them are exempt because they're owned by government or they are not-for-profit lots. But there are 160 tax lots that pay in to the SID, and there are a total of 303 total first floor storefront spaces within those 5 districts. That's what we'll be looking at today. Next slide, please. So downtown represents 62.5% of the total tax lots of the SID. That's the chart on the left. And then when you combine it with Upper Millburn Avenue, they actually represent 80% of the total number of tax lots. That doesn't necessarily reflect how much they pay, because that is in the percentage of total assessment, where the downtown represents 43% of the money that we collect out of our $204,000 assessment. While Upper Millburn Avenue is 17.5% of the total tax lots, Morris Turnpike is actually 33% of the assessed value, because there's fewer properties, but they are worth more. And so therefore they pay a higher amount every year. And then we have our friends in Short Hill Station with just 1%. So going to the next slide. There are 503 total businesses. There's actually 504, but this was static as of when I read the report. We got a new business, the folks at the prep school. So the largest sector is professional services. Those are things like engineering, architecture, interior design, construction, etc. 92 businesses, or 18%, are in the medical space. 66, or 13%, are in food and drink. And then beauty, health and wellness, and retail and shopping both have 59 businesses each in their sectors. Go to the next slide. In terms of business location, so that's the chart in the upper left, downtown represents 55.5% of all the businesses in the SID. Morris Turnpike and Wyoming Business Center are second and third, respectively. Since the creation of Explore in August of 2020, the chart on the upper right, you'll see 105 businesses have opened. That's 21% of all the businesses in the district today. The district with the largest number of businesses that have opened since the SID formation is downtown. 61 businesses have opened in the downtown since our formation, but the largest growth has actually been on Morris Turnpike, 25.3%, and Upper Millburn Avenue at 23.8% growth. Next slide, please. So we currently have 13 properties that are either under construction or under review by various boards. So this chart is actually color-coded by Tracy and Jumana's color code of Explore Millburn. So downtown blue, you can see there are 9 businesses that are in some phase of active development. We just met with the folks from Acorn General Store, Millburn Indoor Golf, Ben and I board hearing coming up. Anyone that's driven past the Hearth or the former Charlie Brown sees the construction going on there. We mentioned Aquatots and Gold Medal Gymnastics, and then there are 2 projects underway. One is a large physical construction project at Signature Realty on Upper Millburn Avenue, and then we have a planned boutique market, which is going through some of the planning phases as well, and we're intimately involved with that project. And if you look here, this is the actual.
Can I ask a
Yes.
question? Do you know what the targeted timing is for the restaurant at the old Charlie Brown's?
I don't. I can't say definitively.
I was at a meeting earlier today. I think it's they're trying to get it started like end of July,
Okay.
so midsummer. So
Be terrific.
What kind of restaurant is it?
it's Willow and.
Whisk.
Breakfast lunch.
It's a brunch. I think they have an operation in Montclair.
And they close at 4.
Wyckoff.
They're gonna
Wyckoff.
close at 4.
And which store?
Breakfast and lunch.
It's
It's the old Charlie Brown space.
yeah,
Corner,
but there's a few different.
No, the downtown.
the corner
the
one, the
restaurant.
corner,
the
the
corner.
corner one,
One with the
with the
big
big
glass.
glass, like, yeah.
And they're outside dining in the whole area too.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing that we're seeing now is between the old feed store across the street here, the Hearth and Charlie Brown's. Those are 3 constructions, but they have multiple storefronts. So the potential we could have 10 to 12 to 13 new businesses opening up over the next few months, depending on how those storefronts get occupied. You go to the next slide, please. So this is the vacancy rate over time. So we track them, the first two categories, occupied or in the process of being occupied. And you see that's 95.5% of all of the storefronts in the CID. And then there's for sale and lease or long-term vacancies, that's 4.95%. So that's how we get to our 4.95% vacancy, which 5% is the industry standard. So we've been under 5% since March of 2023, so over a year. That number has a slight uptick. We did unfortunately lose the gentleman who owned the Sunoco on Upper Millburn Avenue. There was some legal issues with Just Collect, which was next to F45. AKT Fitness on Morris Turnpike, there was some financial issues between the franchisor and the franchisee. And so it's been a couple of strange issues, but nonetheless, I think we're still in a great position. And 4.8% since March 23rd, I think, March 23, I think we're in quite good shape. Go to the next slide. So this lists the vacancies. So there are currently 15 vacancies out of the 303 that are available. So that's 4.95%, as I said. 4 of them are in downtown. I mentioned a few of those. In Wyoming, that's been a long-term vacancy. The Motion Fitness, that's been vacant for an enormous amount of time. We have 3 that are on Morris Turnpike, but I am actively working with the property owner at 688 Morris to try to find him a tenant. He's trying to be pretty creative about that space. And then we do have 7 on Upper Millburn Avenue, which includes the former Sunoco that I mentioned, and most of those are, as indicated by the asterisk, long-term vacancies. The 517, which is Alexa's neighbor, I was just chatting with the owner this week. He's thinking about what he can do over there, and we're going to be actively sending him tenants, but we're hoping to get that space activated as well. So while these are vacancies, a couple of them do have a few things moving in the right direction. Next slide, please. So then when we look at vacancies per district, so downtown is actually just 2.3%, which is a reduction from the June 2021 numbers of 6.5%. Morris Turnpike and Wyoming are nearly identical at 5.8 and 5.9, but keep in mind, because there's so few storefronts in those districts, there's actually only 4 total vacancies. So the number's 5.8, 5.9, but it's actually only 4 spaces that are vacant. And then Upper Millburn does have the highest vacancy rate of the 5 districts, but it also has the largest decline since June of 2021. It's declined the vacancy by 10%. You can see when we started, it was at 23%. That's that highest blue line there, and now it has had a precipitous drop. The loss of the Sunoco moved it up a little bit there. So overall, everybody is trending in the right direction. So then on the next slide, just a little bit about strategies to reduce vacancies. So I've presented a whole host of different strategies over the years, and many of them have been implemented by the township and Explore. So we're going to continue to work on parking and streetscaping and signage. Creating a more pedestrian-friendly district, especially in the downtown, is critical. We're going to pursue grants, as we mentioned, about streetscaping, micro grants that we can help invest in properties. We'll certainly be working with the township on circulation. Tim mentioned, the Essex Street downtown circulation effort. I mentioned to Alex and Ben as well, I'd really like to investigate how we start dealing with e-scooters and e-bikes. There's a whole infrastructure that needs to be considered when you're when you're using those types of equipment, and with so much residential development, I think we're going to start seeing some of those new types of transportation. Also, there are some still restrictive zoning policies in the town that make it a little bit difficult for us to do our job, but we're going to continue to work with the township, and as issues come up, zoning is sometimes one of those things where you say, I didn't know that was a rule until you find out it was a rule. And so we're going to work with the township as those issues come up, and certainly advocate for different strategies like subdividing storefronts, or what we're hearing, we just heard 2 of them today, one on Morris and one in downtown. Certainly in a difficult economic time, subdividing storefronts is becoming more popular. And then we're going to work to try to really keep a tight rein on second floor and multi-office tenants. You typically get, 1 or 2 person offices. They come in, they go out, but they do play a really critical role, especially in the downtown economy. People working in those offices or second floors spend money in the downtown. So we want to make sure that tenants in those second floor spaces feel engaged and feel like those are good spaces for their businesses to prosper. So that is the report. I have two other brief ones, but does anyone have any questions on this one?
Just a brief question. You
Yes.
think that Sunoco station will remain a gas station? That's your professional opinion, or do you think it's gonna?
Underground storage tanks are problematic things. So my assumption would be that there's somebody, I think it's a viable space, right? It's a great corner location. It's on the way to Route 24. It has the underground storage tanks, which are better to keep in the ground than pay to take out. So
Right.
I think certainly that would probably be the preferred use.
Okay.
So you have in your packets, I believe it's attachment 7. It is the success tracker. So we publish this, we track it literally on a daily basis. And it's really just everything that we do as an organization. So there's about 90 major things that we do every year. And so I'll present this quarterly. You'll see it in front of you. Most of it has been discussed tonight, but some of the other items that have come up in the first quarter, we did host that webinar with the New Jersey Business Action Center. We did a spring cleaning of all of the tree pits. So when you walk downtown and Upper Millburn, you will see all fresh mulch in all of the tree pits. We do that every year. We also have 30 planters that we maintain. And Amanda worked with a vendor. We have all of those planted, most of them. What kind of plants are those?
Well, right now we have daffodils and pansies, but we're gonna be putting in beautiful stuff over the summer, so.
Daffodils and pansies. They're all in bloom. So when you walk around town, you'll see that. Also, we have, it's a type of cherry tree. We have 6 of them throughout the town, including by footnotes on Upper Millburn and then in the art alley. So those are all starting to bloom as well.
Those
So
are in the planters.
those are in planters.
Yeah, the
Yes,
other
but
ones are like a type of holly.
and so we also completed a brand new business welcome package with all updated documents. And when we met with the folks from Acorn General Store, we gave them that. And so we have a nice packet that is up to date for 2024. KPIs. So I have to thank Ben for pushing this as an agenda item for us. And so what you're going to see today is a key performance indicator. Just keep in mind, this is the first time that we've attempted to do this. You know, with SIDS, as we've talked about, a lot of it is touch and feel for the first couple of years. You have to figure out what works and what doesn't. It's not quite a 1 + 1 = 2 type of situation, but I think that we're in a position now where we have some really good reliability in the product that we put out. And so there's a list in front of you. We've broken it down into 3 categories: economic development, social media, and then events and programs. This is as of March 31st, so it doesn't include any April data. So on the economic development side, we discussed the first 2 categories concerning vacancies, et cetera. 8 businesses have opened and 4 have closed since the beginning of the year. So we have a net of +4. We've also fielded 13 requests for space. So those are people calling us up looking to become tenants. We walk them through that process. 30 navigating government requests and 19 general business advocacy requests. So navigating government, those are things typically related to how do I get my parking pass, who's responsible for my trash. I have a construction interruption because there's a crew digging up the street in front of my business. Someone hit an electric pole and, you know, I don't know what to do, but I need to talk to somebody. So all of those types of things. The general business advocacy is directing people to business resources. So taking someone and connecting them with the NJEDA for a grant or a free website program. Just doing B2B. You know, somebody needs a local architect or a local attorney. We connect those people and try to keep business in the community. So all of that is nonstop. It happens on a nearly daily basis. I'm also tracking revenue from the meters and the app, which are located in the SID. I'm very curious to see what the parking revenue looks like throughout the year. So obviously it's only the first quarter, but I think as we head to at least the third quarter, we'll start seeing some trends, which I think will give us a really good understanding of foot traffic by month. And it's a really reliable way of tracking it because people are paying to park. So that'll be a good data point that we can use going forward. On the social media and digital engagement side, we've had 4 digital campaigns, including Restaurant Week, and all the social media that went into that with the influencers. We'll make a full presentation on that at our May meeting. Our email distribution list is stable at 2,600 people, but usually when we have a big event like Girls Night Out, that'll go up. So we expect to see that once that event happens. We've done 21 Instagram posts, 964 stories, and 30 reels, and we have gained 211 followers this year. So there's only 90 days or so in the quarter, so it's a pretty good ratio. And then I think most importantly, we've had 110,712 overall engagements on our Instagram since the beginning of the year. So those are people liking, sharing, following, etc. We've had 5 marketing consultations with businesses where we sit down one-on-one and teach them how to do certain things on Instagram or Facebook. We've released 27 email blasts, including our weekly information blast. And there is a blank space there regarding QR codes and website visits. We're working on some back-end tracking, but we'll have some final numbers for you in June. We're very curious to see how the website gets utilized, as well as all of the different QR codes that we put out. Amanda can trace how many of them are actually clicked throughout the year. And then we've only hosted one event thus far, as you know, but there'll be more data once we do Girls Night Out and Founding Day. 4 educational classes with a total of 39 attendees from 33 unique businesses in the CID. And that is my report. So hopefully this will continue to evolve, and we'll figure out how best to track data as it comes in.
Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Amanda. Okay, so let's move on to our town hall.
Yes, so if you would pass that around, I'll keep one copy. So, as you all know by now, the Township Committee has decided to move the pedestrian mall closure from Main Street to Town Hall Plaza. It will start July 1st and conclude on Labor Day. It'll be a full 24/7 closure, and it will be on, as I said, Town Hall Plaza, which today is a small one-way street that connects Essex down to Millburn. We'd actually experimented with using this space when we did our Halloween event last year. Wanted to see how it functioned with pedestrian traffic, and it functions quite well. It has all of the utilities that we need. All of the lighting poles are electrified, so we can do overhead lighting easily. We can connect for bands. It has some grass space, so we have the ability to do some games and things like that. So what you're seeing here is, and we want to have a more robust conversation at our next meeting in May, but this is a list of all the things that we're considering. The first is the Township Committee. You obviously you will potentially finalize the ordinance at your meeting, I think on May 7th. We are requesting funding from the town to support the new work that needs to be done. There was quite a bit of infrastructure on Main Street, so we're going to need some money for planters and lighting and things like that. And as I said, we're meeting with Alex on Tuesday to go through that. And then the public consumption ordinance that I mentioned earlier, which I'm working with Alex and Christine Gaddy on. So hopefully that'll make its way to the Township Committee for consideration. Public Works, we have some picnic tables that need to get moved out there. They'll move over the trash receptacles, the pizza receptacles, some planters that we have laying around, we can move over there as well. And then the overhead lighting. And then we would love to paint that crosswalk that actually goes from Town Hall to the parking lot. It needs to be painted anyway, so maybe we could do something artistic and make it look like piano keys or the Explore logo colors or something like that. So on the infrastructure side, we're going to be putting up a large banner across the street. It'll be 2-sided, so no matter which side of the street you come down, you'll see that it's Town Hall Plaza, welcoming people. We're going to cover the barricades, at least on the inside, with our logo, so it looks a little bit cleaner. We do have, I think we have 8 benches, a host of tables, other things. So we have quite a bit of street furniture that we've used for Main Street and for the igloos. So those are all in storage. We'll be moving those out. We have a light display that we're planning on ordering, which is actually the 3rd page. It breaks my heart, but Metuchen got it first, so it says downtown Metuchen. But that was a rental. We're buying. So we're gonna one up Metuchen, but this is actually something.
But ours will say Millburn,
You know, I forgot that part. Oh God, I gotta go check the order. But we're gonna buy it so we can use it for Girls Night Out, for the igloos, etc. So it'll be something that we keep.
It'll just have Millburn.
It'll say Millburn, yes. The more letters, the more expensive. And Explore Millburn-Short Hills is a lot of letters, but it'll say Millburn.
How big is it? Physically, is it 3 feet high,
I
2
mean, you
feet
can see,
high?
look
You
at
see on
the
the
picture.
picture,
Yeah.
I know, I see
Looks
the
like it's
picture,
3
but I'm
feet.
trying to
Like
get
What's
the
it,
letter.
about
scale.
2.5, 3 feet
I-
high?
I
Not
think
me,
No, but
you got
the
maybe
letter-
2.5 feet.
Letter is 3 feet.
Okay.
Maybe it's higher.
But it's nice that we can use it for a variety of events. So we've actually, I released the email yesterday for bands.
Is that on both sides? It's the same on both sides, or is it just one side?
I think it's only on one side.
And how much is this?
What was the number?
They're approximately $500 a letter.
Oh,
But to rent it, it's just not cost effective for what we wanna do.
I think it's a nice statement piece.
What's
Um,
about?
We did,
Where were we thinking about putting it?
in terms of the
Okay.
plaza, probably behind, maybe behind the bands. So when they're playing, the Millburn will be lit up, because that's where most people take their photos. But it's movable. The letters are all individualized, so you can move them wherever you want.
and DPW will store it, you know, off season.
We can store it here, we can store it at Giro.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have plenty of storage.
Are they metal or wood?
Yeah, they're metal.
Metal?
And then, we'll bring them out for girls' night out.
But
all the other
they're
events.
all they're not, it
They're
doesn't,
individual.
They're individual.
and there's the electricity or the illumination component is in, does it have to be plugged in or it's within
Yeah,
the
it's
casing?
gonna have to,
So you need a light source to be nearby.
Electricity.
Right, which we have. Every light pole is
Right.
illuminated there, or electrified, I should say.
They're probably filming a series. So you don't have to plug it.
Right. Exactly.
I did see canopy on here. Is there a canopy?
It's like a tent.
Tent.
Yeah, so that's something we've been talking about. We have to price those out. We do have concerns over whether if it's up 24/7, the potential for it to blow away, obviously in inclement weather. So we have to do some research. We're gonna talk to some vendors. We'd like to do at least one large canopy, but we just wanna make sure we have the right one for safety.
There was one on Main Street, right?
Yeah, Evo and Lemon had one. So we'd like to do something very similar to that,
Right.
Like the more heavy duty.
more heavy duty,
Sand
yeah.
bags.
If you go a little larger, it should be fine. Heavy duty, they have to go through all kinds of stuff.
Let's see, I don't wanna take up too much time, because I do wanna let you guys digest this over the next month. But I mentioned I released the email for bands yesterday at 4 o'clock. I'm happy to report that every single slot is taken. So we have a full music program.
And there's a waiting list, I'm sure, right?
The waiting list is twice the list of the hired bands. And then we're gonna think about doing some interesting things. I mentioned the wine tasting nights, maybe developing a specific calendar to say, mariachi is doing Taco Tuesday takeout, these 3 weekends. Go to mariachi, get your takeout, bring it there, whatever it may be. We'd love to do a night with Toninos where we have fire pits, do some cigars and fire pits. Jack's has been great with, so maybe do some lobster rolls. And just work with these local restaurants to try to create a food component, which obviously is missing because we're not on Main Street, so we have to replicate that. So that's the plan. And then there's a map on the second page, which just shows the space. So it'll be closed off at Essex Street at the top. There'll be a barricade where there's currently a curb cut to exit, so that no one turns into the pedestrian mall. And then down by about 3/4 of the way down is another barricade. So that you will be able to enter the resident parking, which is that small lot. But what today is a only in will be both an in and out, and then we're gonna leave some space on the right side of the road so that if there's 2 vehicles approaching each other at the same time, one has room to get out of the way.
Steve, what is that parking lot for? Like, who
That's
parks
for
in there?
residents who live downtown. Yes, so.
Or if they're in an apartment situation where there is not adequate parking for them, so they
So it's a
can,
town parking lot?
yes,
It's a municipal lot, but you have a special parking.
special parking sticker.
Yeah, so if you live over President's Club, for instance, that's where you park.
My girls text me, they want a yoga Saturdays or something.
So we have a
Monday
program
morning
we
yoga.
call Open Streets. We've been doing it for the last 2 years. Bhakti Barn did, I think, 14 sessions last year, if I recall. So we did Cycle Bar, we did Bhakti Barn, we did
Well, there's chess.
Chess.
Yeah, there's a nonprofit chess organization that plays chess in the pedestrian mall, so that's like the secondary part of as we plan the music, when there's no music, we encourage that stuff, so I think we will definitely have yoga. Yeah, that was a huge hit last year, they did it every weekend.
Yes.
And one thing Ben brought up at the last township meeting that I think was a good concern. If the restaurants are sending food over or wine over, I mean, should we try to make sure we know how those staff are moving through the streets? Like, we don't want anybody to potentially run through the streets to bring food over. Is there safe passage for the workers?
So I don't think
That's
there's gonna
something
be,
to consider?
I don't think there's gonna be any sit down dining. I think anything that does get delivered will be strictly delivery, right? So it'll be
Take it.
just, it'll be taken. So, you call Clemenza's Pizza, you order a pie, somebody brings it across the street. We will have a police officer there on weekends, positioned on Millburn at that intersection. And so, that's probably where most people will cross from.
Right.
So, cause that side of Essex is where the police department and public works yards, you don't have people coming necessarily that way. But yes, definitely, we had a police officer the last couple of years, just to, actually, to be honest with you, community policing. Just go out there and chat with residents, so, that's a good way to do it as well.
Steve,
You could maybe have a designated food drop off, if people are ordering and stuff, maybe we put a sign up and say kind of a.
Yeah, Uber Eats or a.
That's what I mean, like a
drop off type space.
We can have a sign.
We have a couple of those crossing horses or.
We just don't know how it's gonna develop yet, yeah, I think that was a good point.
Yeah, we could put an A-frame, and we could even, put out a small table and, the food just gets dropped off and you go get it. Absolutely.
I want to mention, I know I spoke with Steve about this, but just, and I think you were up for exploring this a little more, like, to me, we're gonna definitely look to make this a really vibrant spot. Food and drinks are definitely key, and yes, it is gonna be different than Main Street, but I would love us to explore, some of the restaurants that set up at Rocktoberfest or at other events that do know how to set up in remote places. As we said, if we could get a heavy duty tent, could we have a rotation of, a Jack's Lobster Shack or Mariachi or La Strada or whoever it is, like have them. So like on Friday and Saturday nights that you could actually get food in the closure, maybe a simplified menu. And in addition to the consumption license, are there any regulations that could enable drinks to be served there? I know that obviously.
My belief is
liquor
no, but we can
license.
certainly look into.
Okay.
Or like a beer garden there.
Or like, how did I say, I know this sounds funny, but I remember skiing in Utah, there's the whole liquor laws there, and if you go someplace and you pay $5 to be a member, and then you can buy drinks, like, is there a way people can buy a bracelet, a Town Hall Plaza bracelet, and you're a member for the summer? I don't know what the answers are, this is not coming from any place of knowledge, but I'm always pushing us
Well,
to
we
be
did have,
creative and like see, is there a way to get to, it's great, people could use QR codes and order delivery, but it would be even more great if there could be some food right there or drinks.
Yeah, let me look into, or connect with some of my colleagues and figure out how flexible we can be with the alcohol consumption.
Obviously, we have to, follow all laws, but are
Yes.
there,
Yeah, I will
things
ask for
that, even the whole way restaurants could serve like wine and beer from one source in New Jersey or something like that, like, does that apply to the outdoors? I don't know, could we have a New Jersey winery be our wine sponsor for the summer? I don't know, but I would love for us to explore.
Tracy, you just have to be careful that we're not cannibalizing on an external business that's not part of our.
I totally
Yeah.
agree, but like, are there those things that Millburn businesses could do? Like if you're
Through the
allowed-
auspices of a Millburn-Short Hills business.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, I didn't mean to convey.
No,
otherwise.
that's fine.
We will definitely
Like-
come back to you at the next meeting with some
Alright.
updates on that
But
stuff.
this is, you put this together so
Yeah.
quickly and
Really
it
quickly.
looks really great.
Thank you.
And that's amazing that the bands are completely booked already.
That was the easiest task of the year.
Go ahead. I definitely think that there is an Explore reusable plastic.
Oh, I got it right, plastic
cup
cup. All right.
in our future, with the partnership with the liquor with the wine and liquor. I can see our
Yep.
logo and something, you know, anyway, something to think about.
And the other thing too is, I know people suggested, it's a little bit off the beaten path. How do we send people that way? I know you said,
Yeah.
lights, but, signs and
Yeah, we're gonna,
maybe even lit signs that show people, hey, Town Hall Plaza that way. Just
yeah, last year we
draw it
put
in.
directional signage in the downtown to help people find some of the more remote businesses. We can replicate that concept and just give people, come up with a really catchy graphic, Town Hall Plaza this way, just, because I think people are also gonna be sort of trained to go to Main Street. We need to make sure that we're capturing them.
It'd be cool, put up like one of those balloons or something, where they can see it from anywhere.
Or what about
Get a
the,
giant strobe flash.
or Steve, what about the influencers that are very reasonably priced to have them come to, as we start this thing?
Yeah.
To have them come to a couple of the openings, when the band's open, have the influencer there, I think it was $300.
Yeah, that's great.
Speaking of openings, July 2nd
July
will be our kickoff event. Please mark your calendars. It's the beginning of July 4th weekend. We will be hosting a local band that evening. So I hope everybody that is in town can be in Town Hall Plaza. Okay, very exciting.
Public comments.
Public comment. Okay, we'll now start our public comment portion of the evening. When invited to speak, please come to the lectern, state your name and speak into the microphone. Prepared statements may be sent to Tracy, TRACY, at exploremillburnshorthills.org. Speakers must limit their comments to 3 minutes. Those utilizing Zoom or phone will also have an opportunity to speak. Please remember that this is a business meeting and professional decorum must be maintained. If a speaker engages in disorderly conduct, including outbursts that disrupt the meeting, physically threatening or abusive language, or any other act which disturbs the meeting, they will ask to cease their public comment or be asked to leave the meeting. Okay, why don't we start with those on Zoom first, please? Thank you, Tim.
We have none.
We have none on Zoom. Okay. Then let's proceed to those in the audience that would like to speak.
One other choice.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Feld, Millburn resident. Steve, if you could, the handout that you gave that the public can have, if that could be posted on the website tomorrow about the lights. Yeah, because we didn't have a public of it. And as to the Memorial Day parade, is there gonna be any fee that's that Alex asked for the for your group? Because we're hearing different ideas from different groups getting asked that they have to show proof of insurance. And I don't know if I want to be consistent. As to business development, there was not a mention about the food establishment fee, the reinspection one. And I think we had to look at it to compare to Livingston, because Livingston had like 4 different categories of food establishments, and including like someone who manufactures food. And in the magazine that you're talking about, they talk about a food manufacturer, and I don't know if that's covered, or like Live Bread's like factory, if that's covered. We might want to compare that. Also, one of my clients tried to execute a lease. They had a lease executed, then you changed the ordinance and they lost the lease. So when you're talking about helping vacancies, you have to understand that the town lost a tenant for these people because you changed the zoning laws. At the last meeting, I asked about the grant, about prevailing wage. Did you ever find an answer to that? Are you subject to it or not? I just don't know. Now, sort of, I have to change direction. In the last week, there's been some interesting things that have, not interesting, but things that happened to the town about the Judge Santamoro. There was a case management conference, and I'm trying to bring you up to speed regarding the Bear Properties litigation. That was on Monday. The judge, basically myself and the new substitute council will meet prior to May 17th. Come May 1st, the judge will identify and advise us who the mediator is, and then we'll start the process, whether we accept that mediator or we'll pick a new one. But the judge was well aware of Judge Santamoro's comment and the press releases, the negative press releases about this town. I didn't answer the judge, and this is my 5th judge in this case, and something also strange happened. The court gave me a procedural roadmap to introduce all acts of bad faith litigation of the town, which is a very strange thing, and I'm just bringing that to your attention. That hopefully mediation will occur. Probably, I have a feeling that both parties are going to probably reject the mediator suggested by the judge. We'll suggest other ones, but mediation probably should occur sometime, I think, by July or August. I mean, July, and then we can move on this case. But at the last township committee meeting, the town already indicated it, and it really shocked people, that the town really wants to litigate this matter rather than to mediate it. They made that representation to the judge, and that was also brought up by Mr. Cantor on Tuesday night. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the question. So in the new area, will there be tables available to pay the rent like there were on Main Street for restaurants? And if so, I believe that the restaurants, if they can, they'll find a way to get the food there, because that's how people do, they make money. They figure out how to do it safely. That's all.
Anybody else like to speak?
Hi,
Hi.
Julie Weiner from Splurge Bakery, 105 Main Street. And I just wanted to kind of do a little bit of a recap on Restaurant Week. It's something that we've never really participated in before because we're not open in the evenings. But under the encouragement and support of Amanda and Steve, we talked a bunch about what we could do. And we decided to do a free tasting of all our different cake flavors. So we were cutting over 10 different cakes from Thursday to Sunday during Restaurant Week. We have a lot of different flavors that people don't experience. They always just buy vanilla and chocolate. And so we got them to sample some of our other desserts, and it was very successful. And we had a lot of fun. And we're going to continue this even beyond Restaurant Week. So we're going to do a tasting in May or June and some more in the fall. So I wanted to thank Amanda and Steve for their support and encouragement. And like I said, I've been here 14 years, and this is my first Restaurant Week participation. So good job.
Thank you.
Thanks for participating.
Good evening, Carrie Urso. First, I would like to echo Mr. Feld. I was also a participant at the case management hearing, and I was surprised to learn once again that the TC is not willing to mediate, and we're going to continue to litigate. Unfortunately, under the current chair, mayorship, they also chose to litigate. And one of their TC members was adamant and said because they can, and they're going to litigate to the end. And unfortunately, we were brought to that situation because this sadly is the only municipality that I deal with that refuses to have a conversation. I truly believe that there would never be a litigation had this township were willing to have a conversation and truly answer our questions and our concerns. Since so many things have happened since the establishment of your new SID, the executive director, he failed to mention the Paul Masters space, that there was a lease that was implemented October 23rd of 2023. Unfortunately, until the township committee changed the zoning, we have since now been brought into a litigation. I find, and I'm not sure, I know the executive director had mentioned during a TC meeting that he would often assist property owners and their tenants and navigate through the permitting process. And I've even witnessed him testify amongst your boards in favor to assist. So I'm beginning to feel that this is pure retaliation because my tenants are not involved with the litigation. My tenants are not forbidden to participate in the SID. They're welcome to, I want them to strive. I want them to have an amazing business because I will continue to be able to do my job. We have a garbage situation. Garbage has been taken away, the solid waste from many of the properties. I have since my resolution have my own private scavenge. But we have a thing called, I call it now, garbage pirating. So I think you might want to go around to your township garbage pails to see who's actually and why they're so overloaded and filled. I'm not sure, but I'm witnessing a lot. I had to call the police several times because people are actually using my private scavenge that cost me nearly $600 a month. And so the problem is now my problem, but my taxes have not changed at all. So that's also a problem. Now that I know that, and I'm sorry for the Main Street, but you have now moved it to the mall. But was there anything that was considered throughout? You have 4 other districts. And so, it was stated that there was an enormous amount of interest for bands and things like that. I do my own entertainment and I'm fine with it, but there is ways, you have to like think out of the box. I also am an event planner. I do, and I could certainly contribute a lot to this board. And I have been asked by several township committee members to participate on this board. Of course, that would be infringed upon. However, I do have a lot to add. But because of my litigation, that appointment certainly wouldn't be an option for me. So it's unfortunate and I'm very sorry, but I really hope that the climate change, we're all adults here. And I think at some point, I mean, things are being done and it is affecting my livelihood now. And I do have a life and I have a business and I have multiple properties.
Ms. Urso, I'm going to ask you to please.
So
wrap
I
up.
just would ask if at some point, I think that we're all adults. I think that, you know, we could be civil and try to figure this out. I mean, we should be able to work together.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Any other public comment?
I'll answer those questions if you'd like.
Sure.
All right, so we'll just go in the order they were asked. So Mr. Feld asked about the Memorial Day Parade. To my knowledge, there's no fee required. I can't speak to any other entity's insurance. We have insurance through an agreement with the township, so we don't have to provide insurance or a fee, but he's welcome to investigate that on his own for other groups. The food inspection fee that he mentioned, that is a fee that was instituted by the township committee at, I think, their previous meeting. Or no, I'm sorry, it's up for consideration at the next meeting, which is a additional fee for re-inspections. So if you fail inspection, there's an additional fee to be charged. He makes a valid point concerning food production. We do have we have an indoor greenhouse. So I'm happy to have those conversations with the Department of Health. I'm having a little trouble.
Yes, could we, please?
In terms of the prevailing wage question, I did speak to the DCA. There is no prevailing wage obligation with the Clean Communities Grant. I'm not going to comment on anything related to the Bear Properties case. We're not a named litigant. Ms. Urso is the plaintiff. Mr. Feld is their attorney. It's a dance we've been doing for 3 years. Let's see. Mr. Seibert asked about the tables to rent on Town Hall Plaza. Last year we offered that, but no businesses took it up. So I don't think we're going to do that again this year. I don't think it was particularly useful. Ms. Urso asked about the Paul Masters space. That is the space that is directly next to her restaurant. The owner of that business contracted cancer and had shut the business down. my understanding is that she had attracted a tenant who had a vape shop. That tenant actually did contact me, and I did speak to him. But the township committee chose to enact a prohibited uses ordinance. We do not pass ordinances here. We don't make recommendations regarding, or we did not make recommendations regarding that ordinance. So if her concern is about prohibited uses and why that use could not go into that space, it should solely be questioned of the township committee. I'll look into the dumping in public garbage cans. I haven't seen it, but perhaps she has.
I actually agree with Perry on that.
Okay.
It definitely needs to be looked into.
We can absolutely do that. Certainly, if anybody has security cameras.
I was just gonna
Send
say,
them
if
over.
anybody has any security footage that
And then she asked about bands. We did for 2 years run programming on Upper Millburn Avenue. We did a Sunday brunch series with jazz musicians. The reality is that at night, there's only 2 businesses that are open on Upper Millburn Avenue. So there's really no reason to put a band there. There's just not enough foot traffic. So that's just the reality there. There's just only one restaurant that's open at night and then the cigar bar. So unless there was a significant change in the types of businesses there, there's no reason to put it there. So I don't want to waste taxpayer money. And she mentioned that her tenants are encouraged to participate. They are. We work with the Millburn Photo Shop all the time. Carl Mink is a great community member, the other folks. So yeah, it's up to every business whether they want to participate. Ms. Urso herself has not participated with our organization, and she has submitted written documentation asking us not to promote her business, not to promote her properties. So I just want to make that clear that we have been prohibited from supporting her in certain ways. But her tenants have not been, and some of her tenants have taken full advantage of the organization. And that's my report.
does anybody else want to say anything?
Sure, I'll say a couple things. One is, I think Perry would be a great asset. I think we have to clear the litigation first. There will be a mediation, as you know, Mr. Feld, between on the Bear properties. And in fact, I'm gonna make it my business to sit in on the mediation to just make sure everything is going as discussed. Because I want to make sure that we're getting a full vision of that mediation. Then Julie, good to see you. It's been a while. We'll be by to get the cake tasting, so. Ellie's home at the end of the month, so we'll be, so.
Could I just ask Mr. Cooper, could you just explain why we have not had a quote unquote sit down with Bear Properties, as Ms. Urso mentioned?
Well, he can't, I can explain to you, you're not a party to it, it's up to the town to sit with us. That's the end of the story. You're not a party.
No outburst, please. Okay, so, so a couple things, as you mentioned earlier, as we've talked about before, the litigation is between the township and the property owner, not the CID. Beyond that, you know, there's very little I can say in open session. I'm happy to meet with the board in closed session and talk about the legal procedure. But you know, and I think those are really you're going to be your 2 main issues, which is when you're not a party to the litigation. And beyond that, my legal advice I would reserve for closed session.
I think my question is more directly, because there's ongoing litigation, we are not engaging in any type of negotiation.
Well, there's nothing to negotiate.
Right, there's ongoing litigation. We need to stop litigating this at public meetings and do it in the mediation session.
Well, there's a forum for litigating, that's correct. It's not the public meeting.
All right, so our next meeting will be Thursday, May 16th at 6:30 p.m. And we will be discussing the Restaurant Week Business Survey, final planning for Town Hall Plaza programming, the Main Street Program application, as well as the Downtown New Jersey State Assembly testimony on SID recap. I would like to wish everybody that celebrates a happy Passover, and I would like to say that this meeting is adjourned. May I have a second, please?
A motion.
May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? I stand corrected.
Motion.
May I have a second, please?
Second.
Good night,
All
everyone.
in favor?
All in favor?
Opposed?